Once you've taken your photos, there's a good chance you're going to want to edit them, and there's lots of free apps that you can get to help you do that. So the first thing that I want to show you is the Inbuilt Editor on your phone. So again, depending on the exact phone you have, this will differ, but it's always the first port of call to get used to. So if I'm going to click on that and then find a photo, take this random picture of my dog, there she is. So I now have various options for editing this, such as, if I click on there, I can rotate it. So when in the videos talking about angles and framing, I talked about the importance of straight lines. So if you take a photo and it's a little bit wonky, you've always got the option of adjusting it slightly in editing software. I can flip it, I can crop it to whatever size I need. Brightness, contrast, filters. Those filters, I can knock the intensity down. So the inbuilt stickers, I want to look at that. Right, text, so I could write something and add text to my piece. So there are quite a lot of options just within the device itself without downloading any other apps. So like I say, first protocol is just to have a little look, have a little play and get to know what your phone is capable of doing. Next up, we've got Photoshop Express. So I'm sure a lot of you have come across Photoshop or maybe use it. This is just one of the app versions. So it's not the same as the desktop site. It doesn't have anywhere near the same amount of control, but it's still, you know, it's free and it's got some decent features. So again, there's various filters that you can play with, and actions. You can crop it again. The nice thing about Photoshop, the Photoshop app, is that it knows what size you need for various social media platforms. So for example, if you were doing a Facebook profile, like a banner, a cover, it knows what size it needs to be to fit the space. Or an Instagram post, which is quite handy. Obviously you can find all that information out online anyway, but it just means it's automated and gives you those options. And it's got things like blur, healing, so you can tap on things. Again, it's got the option to add text, frames. With the option to add text on this, it's stylized text that you can choose from. So again, for a free app, it's quite good and worth having a little bit of a play with. Similar to the Photoshop app, there's also a Lightroom app. There we go, so I'll take an image that I want to work with, and again it's got similar functions on it that you can have a play with. Now a lot of the apps have similar functions, but some of them are better than others, so it's worth trying a few different ones just to see what you like. One of the reasons I like the Lightroom app is similar to Lightroom on a normal computer. You can have presets. So these are filters and actions that will affect your image. And you can load your own in as well. So there's people who sell presets or give away free ones in bundles, which you can load into this and have a little play around. One of my favourites for ease of use is Snapseed. So I'll click on the photo I want to use. Again, it's got various filters that you can use. The downside with Snapseed is there isn't a way of adjusting the amount the filter, you know, how opaque the filter is. You're just stuck with how they've decided to use it, but they are quite nice, so it's worth having a play with. But the reason it's really good are things like tools. So there's all the normal, like being able to crop it, rotate it. Perspective is quite good, so if you've taken something and the perspective is a bit warped or on a bit of a wonk, you can change it by using this. We've got the healing tool again. The one I want to show you though that I find really useful is expand. So for example, if you've taken a photo, say you've taken this photo and you're trying to upload it to Instagram or wherever, and because of the presets of Instagram, it's cropping your picture and you don't want it to be cropped, you want the whole image in shot, you can expand the image, and you can either expand it with a black background, a white background, or smart, so it will try and emulate the rest of the pattern. So I'm going to go for a white background, and then I'll drag the areas I want to expand. You can do some or all of them, and then when you're happy you press OK. So that's really useful, and then when you're happy with it you just export it and you're done. Another thing that's really useful is story art, and there's various other apps that all do the same thing as this, and again there's more details on the handout, but what you would do is choose a template that you like, and again there's free ones and paid ones. I'm going to get out of the paid ones. Such as that one. And then quite often when you click on one that you like, it then brings up a whole host of designs in the same theme. So for example, say I wanted to use that one, I could click on it, then I can click here, add the photo that I want to use with it, click that you're happy enough with it, and then you can click and you can edit the text. And again, download it. So these are geared up for sharing on social media stories. But there's no reason why you can't share them as a normal post as well. The only thing is sometimes they're quite long, so sometimes they would end up getting cropped a little bit if you shared them in a normal post. But again, you can go back and use other apps such as Snapseed to sort of expand them and make them the size needed to fit into whatever social media profile or post you're trying to fit them in. Another thing that's really useful, especially for social media or even for print, is Canva. So again, you can pay and subscribe and have all the options, or there's got quite a few free options that you can use as well. So just let it load. Now this one, it's reliant on the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi isn't great out in my shed, which is why it's being a bit slow. But similarly, I can choose a template that I want. It's got choices such as Instagram post stories, but it also has things like CVs, cover letters, gosh, it's windy. It's got books, all sorts that you can play with and adapt. So if I choose that one, wait for it to load. It was taking a while. I'll show you one that I've pre-done. So if I click on my designs, and look, here's an example of the handouts that I've provided with these videos. So I did all of these in Canva and then saved them as PDFs. And the other nice thing is you can set up your own branding, so you can put in the font that you always want to use for headings, the fonts you want to use for your, your main text. You can put in your brand colours and it will store all that information for you. So that's also a really lovely feature. You can also get loads of free and paid for apps for editing video footage. So again, most of them have it's free to a certain extent, but if you want extra features, or some of them have like little watermarks on them, if you want to get rid of those, then you can pay a subscription to have full access, and it's normally pretty cheap. I'm not going to run through examples of how to use them because they're much more cumbersome in terms of setting them up and getting going, but again, refer to the handout, have a little look, there's more information in there, but it's more about having a play with them. Having a play and see which one suits you, because they all have slightly different sort of features and things that they're geared up to do. You can do all your editing on your phone. There's sometimes a bit of a lag between what you're seeing and the speech, so a lot of people prefer to take the footage off their phone, put it onto a computer or a laptop and do the editing on there.